And we're
My
back,
mother got
everybody.
some
Sorry
random
about
song.
that.
No, she got the hi-ho song from Snow White stuck in my head. I was not
You
appreciative.
know the wonders of doing live broadcasting over the internet sometimes. Sometimes you just run into problems that you don't figure out until you go live. But then you figure them out and you say, hey, welcome to another episode of SCNS Live, this super cool nerd show. Thank you guys out there for joining us in the super cool nation. We appreciate you coming by for another hour of this thing that we do every week.
Oh, 51 minutes now.
No, we will go for a full hour.
You heard her.
I have to leave at 9.
The producer.
Well,
Ooh.
too bad.
At exactly 9 o'clock, we bounce.
Anyway,
We take the
finally-
show on the road in Kat and Cass's car.
Oh, there's going to be some road travel.
Yep.
We got some things worked out. Anyway, I can't do this alone. Of course, my name is Jason the X, but the lady to my left, that is Kat.
You can call me Maka or you can call me Sir.
Just go and call me late for dinner.
We'll talk about last.
No.
And over there, my sister Cass.
Hello.
Yeah, we're sisters.
Are you?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
It's probably.
She
revelations
didn't get the
on you.
genetic jackpot with the hair, so she's bitter.
Speaking of genetic jackpots, there's Bryce.
Hey! Glad to be here. I never knew my first name was Genetic, or my middle was
Wow.
Jack, and my last was Pot. I didn't know that.
It was the
Does that
worst joke
explain
I've
why
ever
you
heard.
get
It's terrible.
arrested
That was
all the
awful.
time?
Did
You're not doing alternate heads.
Yeah,
right?
did Ant-Man and the Wasp just go by my face?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
that was them.
All right.
And of course, making things work behind the board, it is Miss Cora.
Whoa, my board cam got all messed up. No, I had it fixed perfectly.
What are you doing over there? What are you?
I'm trying to fix my cam now. Because of somebody.
What? Somebody what? I didn't do a damn thing.
Somebody.
I fixed the show.
You did fix the show.
Fix the show.
I fixed the show. Don't forget the thumbs up. Oh, friends.
That's an in-betweeners
awful.
reference for all you out
Anyway.
there who are wondering.
You're awful.
This week on the show, well, let's face it, there has been a lot of disgruntled people on the internet lately about this little show comes on, something with thrones, and there's a game you play.
Gang of Thrones, I'm pretty sure.
Gangland Thrones.
I don't
Ganglands.
watch, but amazingly, I know everything that's happened on it
Yeah.
for the last 2 weeks because of some very, very vocal nerds out there. And we're getting to that. But first, let's kick it off with some super cool nerd news. And this week from Super Cool Nerd News is some science for me. Now, I took notes on this because, let's face it, some of it's going right over my head. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
science from Jason is about the worst, scariest sentence I've ever heard.
I may not understand it, but I love it. So imagine if you, say, lost your arm and you'd have to get a cybernetic replacement, preferably like a grappling hook. Well, maybe that might not be the case now because scientists at Cambridge have been working for years on basically rewriting DNA. So far, they have hit a major breakthrough. Basically, a strand of bacteria, some of your stomach bacteria. They were able to totally redesign its DNA from the ground up, eliminating about 3 chromosomes that we don't normally use, and it's still alive. What does this mean? They can remove parts of it and it will instantly come back. Basically, the cells know exactly to go back to the previous configuration that they were. What does that mean for the future? Maybe regrowing limbs. It's actual science now. This thing has been living, I think they've been going on for about 2 weeks now. It is a lab-made microbe, a strain of bacteria normally found in soil and human gut. It is similar to its natural cousins, but survives on a smaller set of genetic instructions. This has been a 3-year effort in molecular biology. The artificial genome holds 4M base pairs and units of genetic code. How can I put this? How can I put this tack? Okay, basically we have 61 codons in a chromosome. They took out 3 of them that are problematic. And from then on, this totally redesigned chromosome, they've chipped away at it, it's regrown, they've split it, it's regrown. It doesn't repeat, it doesn't make 2 of itself, it just goes back to a full form. This is pretty groundbreaking in the technology. They do say it has tremendous medical advances are possible after this. Are we going to be regrowing limbs anytime soon like lizards? Probably not in my lifetime. But with my lifestyle, I kind of appreciate a new liver. So, yes, if you can grow me a new one, pay you.
Aaron wants to know if you can make a spicy arm by eating tacos.
Yes, Aaron, that's how science works.
I'm a big fan of this type of science because it is something we can use for like organ replacement and skin grafts, things of that sort. And like I said, I already know no one on the show is compatible for a new liver for me, so I'd appreciate
You had my blood tested?
Huh? No. Anyway, so I might need a liver. So none of these guys match up. None of them match up. Anyway,
Excuse me, what?
Huh? What? Who?
How do you know that?
Is that why we gave you our blood?
I mean,
You guys are idiots.
Oh,
I was insurance
I woke up in a bathtub.
full of ice.
Was I recruited for alternate heads because I might be a match?
oh man, you're healthy.
It's called
Christ, you're so healthy.
it's called alternate heads. How did you not see this
Right?
coming?
I know.
But let's look on the bright side. Medical technology might have, you guys not have to, die.
Great.
Y'all will be
Great,
fine.
great.
Y'all will be fine without a liver
Sure.
or kidney or whatever.
So it seems
Bryce, you're so
rewrites
healthy.
are going to be
You're
the
so
topic of tonight's show.
Anyway, science, Cambridge University, congratulations guys on making such a breakthrough. Continue forth. More science.
By the way, there is going to be a dermal regenerator. It's in the works. So if you've watched Star Trek The Next Generation, you've seen Dr. Crusher help Riker with many of his head injuries.
All strategically placed.
Right.
Right here.
Yeah,
Warp's
whole
right here.
spine.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So that is something that is a reality that also is coming to the medical forefront, where they are going to be, instead of taking a bunch of skin grafts, they're going to grow you, and basically it's just going to be like spackling.
So you don't have to take skin from your butt anymore.
The doctors will have to initially take a sample from your butt, if that's where you choose to do it, I guess, or some other region of your body. But basically, it's just a sample, and then they can grow it.
They took mine from my butt.
From your butt?
I had a skin graft right here,
Oh,
and it came from there.
Yeah.
It took, so,
nice.
He's got a butt arm.
See, just my luck. See, I think if I get frozen and get woken up when the technology is available to fix me, like, yes, sir, we have a new liver for you. Oh, that's great. Liquor's been outlawed, though, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. Kill me now!
Oh, that would be like that show, that Sylvester Stallone movie with Sandra Bullock, where it's
Demolition Man?
Yeah, the future sucks. They only have Taco Bell. It's all fancy, and nobody actually has the sex anymore.
To me, it's more like that Twilight Zone episode when the guy was all alone, but he could read, and he broke his glasses.
Yeah.
No! I finally had time.
Sometimes
Burgess Meredith.
the
Burgess
Twilight
Meredith.
Zone is just a bummer.
What?
That's Burgess Meredith?
Yes!
The penguin.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's... Okay.
Or Mickey. Mickey loves you.
That's who I think of it. That's how I think of it.
Get up! Mickey's the best.
Whack,
He was
whack,
the
whack.
penguin, yeah.
We
Yeah.
should get this train
Oh,
back
sure.
on the tracks.
He lost some weight.
All right. So, Kat, what have you got for us this week?
Whatever I want. So speaking of science, and something way more exciting than regrowing Deadpool limbs, we
Sure.
have video game engines. So, in Star Wars, I think it was the Han Solo movie, maybe, they replaced green screens. Instead of using green screens, Lucasfilm started using Industrial Light and Magic Unit, created these giant 4K laser projection screens. Yeah. And so instead of them using green screen technology, which we've used forever, actors are starting to be able to see live what their characters are supposed to be experiencing in their acting. It's how they got the really cool reflections in their eyes from the warp speed, whatever. And apparently Danny Glover was like, this is the coolest I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this.
Donald Glover.
What did I say?
Danny.
whatever. Danny Glover then went home, and they replaced him
They're
with
all-
more age-appropriate.
And before you do it, they are not related, by the way. Just saying.
No,
Oh,
they're
no,
not.
yeah.
No, I had somebody like this.
No,
Did
I
you
don't.
tell them you would ask everyone later on the conference
No,
call?
I kind of got mad. I was like, what? Just because? And then, of course, they went, well, they're black and their last name is Glover. I'm like, wow!
No, so anyway, they are
Technology.
doing this using primarily video game engines, which have been required for a long time in like RPG and open world gaming to render on the fly like environments for your character to run around in. They're starting to be able to use that technology. Lucasfilm is on the forefront of something again, which it's been a
Surprise.
minute.
I had no idea about it. Is there like behind the scenes footage where we can see this being done?
There is the picture I submitted in chat for this story, and
I saw that.
potentially others.
I kind of want to
There's
see it,
not
like,
a
done.
lot of behind the scenes
Aw.
that I've seen so far, but I just found out about it. This story I actually found today. Most of them I find a few days ahead of time. Anyway, so like Riot Games and Epic and a couple others are starting to partner with much smaller studios as well, like indie kind of films are starting to be partnered into this, and it's not the time for that. And they're starting to share work. This could be especially useful, obviously, in video game movies. But really on a wide variety. One of the ones that won, I think, at Cannes Film Festival, I think, was using this. There's much smaller studios being partnered in. So this is really exciting for, mediocre actors and for directors who are forward thinking. I didn't say anything.
I'm
But
actually
also,
amazed by it.
yeah, it's, I feel like at the very least it will give even like really low budget, like my productions, the room to be able to at least give somebody an approximation,
Yeah.
even if we can't have giant projected 4K screens, and that would help some with like reflections.
Maybe stop Sir Ian McKellen from crying in a green screen room by himself on the
Yes.
set of The Hobbit.
He's rich enough that he could have cried with someone in the room.
That is correct.
That's
Well,
a weird
in a full
request
green screen
from
suit.
the escort.
There was
studio.
a cameraman in the room with him.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Or Mark Ruffalo has to wear like that Hulk head on a stick.
I loved that.
But
I loved that though.
the most important part of it is that it cuts down on post-production. It moves more things potentially into pre-production where they can be meshed together. It cuts down dramatically on reshoots, efforts, stuff like that, if we can get this unlocked. So the people that have all the money, can you guys keep working on that so it will
Yeah.
trickle down faster? Thanks.
And I was just amazed this weekend Snapchat could turn me into a girl. The baby one is creepy, by the way.
Why
Thank
isn't
you.
my
I didn't like
story
this.
about that?
Yeah, that was fun. When you talk about, a lot of it moves to pre-production and you don't have so much reshoots. That made me remember how the actors from the original Battlestar Galactica, and I'm sure a lot of actors went through the process of, there were these short loops. They talked about how they would have to quickly do their dialogue, because sometimes when they're doing their special effects shots in front of the green screen, it was funny how they talked about how if they didn't get their dialogue out fast enough, then they have to keep reshooting because it costs a lot of money to keep to make longer loops of special effects. So sometimes if you ever watch a sci-fi show and they're spitting out their dialogue faster, it's because there was only so much money to shoot.
It's like, oh my God, there's silence here! Run!
Right.
You'll see it in people cutting off somebody else's line, like towards the end.
Yeah.
They have no time in between as far as reactions go. That's the most common that I've seen. They've been like, oh my God, that's Helen. What are we gonna do? Like,
Right.
yeah.
I hope to see some footage of that actually being done though.
I do too.
wanna see
Super
it.
cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of practical applications to the whole thing. I wanted to look for footage, but I ran out of time. Plus, Overwatch.
To the Google.
Yeah. Overwatch.
Overwatch
also,
League. Yeah.
To the cast. What you got this week?
All right. Batman is gone. He
Yay!
has bounced out of Gotham. He is nowhere to be found.
Slacker.
No one knows where he is. He just bounced, paced out, gone. And that's kind of the world we're living in. In the Batwoman trailer that came out yesterday, he has, just kind of left, and because that's totally something Batman would do. And we're seeing a Gotham largely without any superheroes in it, which is great for Gotham. Gotham's usually good about that. But we have Kate Kane rising from the ashes, and all in all, Ruby Rose just looking really cool.
She does.
I am excited about this show. I am, to be honest, not watching most of the CW, the Arrowverse right now. I'm watching Legends of Tomorrow because it has Constantine in it. That being said, I do want to watch this show. I'm at least going to give it a shot. Partly just because Ruby Rose is beautiful and amazing and just kick ass, and I love her very much.
Do you need a fan? I got it. Ruby Rose is
we also have
is a good-looking lady.
We also have Cameron Johnson as Luke Fox instead of Lucius.
Yeah.
Which
okay. I mean, we did
I
establish.
guess.
Actually, they never established that Lucius had a son. At least I don't think they did. I'm not familiar with the comics, but none of the shows I watched, Lucius ever had a son. But hey, maybe he does.
Why not? And because I don't think they have access to Lucius Fox. But that's a lot of this show seems to be kind of in that weird area that Titans was last season, where there's a lot of things that we can't do. And so I'm kind of curious to see if this show goes the way of Titans and saying that everybody hates Batman and he's a terrible person and all this, or if the show's gonna just actually forge its own path moving forward, which I would much prefer.
Speaking of everyone hating Batman.
Oh, go ahead.
There is
breaking news.
It's not news.
It's
a
rumor.
Not news. There are sources who have told Variety that Robert Pattinson is in negotiations to play the Batman in Matt Reeves' forthcoming superhero film.
Please no. Please no.
Please, yes!
It's not a done deal.
Look at Cass's face! I'm so happy!
Hold on, let me cut to Cass's face.
The sparkly vampire is gonna be Batman! This is
No,
great!
that's not.
This is great! Please let
No,
this be
it's
true!
not great.
I don't know. People bitched about freaking Ben Affleck.
I don't care. It's been a few years. He's got a tough grown-up man face.
Saber, it's a rumor. It's a rumor, Saber.
It's a rumor.
It's being reported by Variety.
I'm entitled to a better Batman.
Oh, speaking of this show.
No, you're not.
Okay.
I disagree.
Let's not spend. It is a rumor still. Rumor still. Watch the Facebook page. If this gets solid.
He's not a bad actor.
He's not
He's
a
just
bad
playing
actor.
a really bad role that's going to stick with him.
Everybody played a really bad role.
Yeah.
He played a particularly bad role.
Okay, have you seen some of Carl Urban's early work? Everyone has played bad roles.
He was wonderful in Doom. Shut up.
He was terrible in, what was it, Xena?
I forgot he was in Xena.
He's been...
Hey, Xena was a masterwork, and I'll fight you for it, okay? I love me some Gabrielle.
Everybody loved Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Like, he's been
Wasn't
in
he
the
cute or
doghouse for like 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, it's
And
been
he's been
long
making
enough.
good stuff.
And really, like, everyone who was on that deserves to potentially be on something better than that, except the cinematography was amazing for the first
beautiful.
two,
Yeah.
and then the third one, it was green screen that was horrifically obvious to everyone. Invest in some digital 4K screens, people.
And then they got a
Alright,
scary
we've
robot
gotten
baby.
very far away from Cass's story, because I want to get back to this.
Yeah.
I want Kate Kane on the screen. I do. I think Ruby Rose is great to play her.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bad premise for her to... Like, Batman's just gone.
It's making a show on the absence of a character, which is just like...
I would rather see,
DC
like...
has proven they're not above that. Have
That's
you
true.
seen
Ki-
Alfred, the show?
Oh, no.
Premise, the whole thing is built on absence of any catalyst that makes things interesting.
Can we just get just one scene of Bruce Wayne? Just find somebody to play Bruce Wayne. I need to go for a while. and I need you to watch Gotham in my absence. There you go. That's all I want. He wouldn't just take off and leave.
They can't do it. And that's the problem.
But Batman has, in the comics, he has left, I gotta go take care of something. And I want you, somebody from the Bat family, to watch over things while I'm gone.
I think it's hilarious that Batman would say, I need to go for a while, and anyone would think that the camera should stay on Gotham.
Well,
yeah.
What's wrong with Batman going away on an extended Justice League mission?
He can, but
And
he would
then-
always make sure that Gotham was taken care of.
But aside from a really well-worded note, we're not going to get anything like that because it's based on we can't use Batman.
Yeah.
I hate that principle, too.
Yeah.
Just even the note saying, Kate, I need to leave, you're in charge.
Peace out.
With like a little W that's supposed to be a bat flying.
Oh, that would be nice.
If you need a car,
It'd be
talk
like
to Alfred.
Wayne
The keys are in the ignition.
/ Batman.
Yeah.
My house is your house. Peace out. I'll be back soon.
Yeah. Instead of him bouncing and leaving nothing.
He's gone under mysterious circumstances.
I also don't think that they have most of Batman's villains, and so we're getting, like, not even second tier.
We're getting White Rabbit.
Like, we're getting
That
third
is White Rabbit.
third tier Batman villains.
Oh, we're gonna,
What was that egg? What was the
I
egg
have
villain?
no idea.
From the Adam West show.
Yeah.
Played by Vincent Price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we have the egg villain?
How did we finally get Vincent Price to play a
Seriously?
supervillain and it be the egg dude?
mark my words, we will get Duella Dent on this show.
Okay, I would support that.
That's
Okay,
not such a
actually,
bad thing.
Yeah,
I would support that.
actually
I like Duella Dent.
yeah. But we will get her just because of how limited they are and who they can use.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want to see the show. I just think it's being introduced with a bad premise.
Although, to be fair, they do have Deathstroke, so maybe they do have some villains.
You know what? A lot of DC's universe is predicated on, like, it's a bad premise, but watch and see if we can pull it out
Yeah.
of the garbage and see
And
where
it
goes.
worked for exactly one show.
It's worked
Mostly.
for a few.
I did
kind
like-
of,
I'm sorry.
and never invariably.
Yeah.
I did like what I saw in the trailer. I want to
Oh,
point
yeah.
out some positives. The
Calendar Man.
Calendar Man gets a starring role. I'm down for it.
her attitude for not following the rules. You know, when in the trailer they said, well, you know, I don't think you're supposed to see what's down there.
Yeah. And she's like,
Yeah. No, I think she's going to be great in the show.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was
Or-
just going to mention that if you ever want any Batman knowledge, Coptel is definitely someone who can come up with some of the most obscure villains that Batman has faced.
I love it.
Just so you know, Coptel, I'm calling you out.
Wait, wasn't
Calling
Calendar
you
Man? Isn't that year one? Isn't he the main bad guy in year one?
That would be
No,
appropriate.
not year one.
It would be
Uh,
appropriate.
Or no, The Long Halloween.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
When does the biennial man show up?
Well,
The year
Mr.
after?
Zaz
Year
shows
one?
up.
Year two?
Just all
It's
of
gotta
them.
be, right?
All
Or
of
else
Batman's
twice
lower
in
tier.
year one. I never was clear
Alright,
on that.
Yeah.
Let's get this back on the track. Bryce, what have you got this week?
Well, CBS in I guess 2 days ago decided they would reveal a lot more about Star Trek new series coming to CBS All Access and Amazon Prime for the rest of the world. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's just get on with the real story about Picard. We actually have a name for Patrick Stewart's show, which is everyone's been calling it Star Trek Picard for the last 6 to 7 months or more, the last year, since Patrick made his announcement at Star Trek Vegas. And guess what they're calling it? Star Trek Picard. Yeah. Set in 2397, which is about, I think, 20 years following Stewart's last appearance in Insurrection. So, you know, a lot of people have come to probably the decision that, you know, Patrick and his phenomenal character, Jean-Luc, have been living the good life since Insurrection. I'm going to say that right before the end of the show.
Okay.
Thank you. Insurrection. Parched. I'm thirsty. So what's interesting about this show is it looks like it's going to be a psychological examination of his character. It's not just going to be strictly, him gallivanting around the universe, exploring. And at CBS Upfront, where they showed at least one image, it looks like just one, of Patrick as his Captain Picard. He was just wearing an ordinary black outfit, it looked like, and the one line of dialogue led you to believe that nobody knew who he was. The one little video clip that they showed. So what's interesting is that apparently Jean-Luc is not. Thank you.
Now you have no excuse.
Say it. Insurrection.
Insurrection.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I didn't promise you I was good at pronouncing things.
That is true.
I never made that.
You
That's
did
true.
in your
Announcement.
interview.
In the pre
The
hiring.
interview. Yeah.
In the,
When
okay,
we
I lied.
promised you your
That's my fault. I
salary.
thought he could talk. All right,
I
God.
lied. I lied. Yeah. So, yeah. So what's interesting is that a couple of images have leaked out online as of today, and you would think he might be teaching, might be a professor at the Starfleet Academy, but that may not be the case. There doesn't appear to be a lot of young people in cadet uniforms surrounding him in the leaked images I saw today. So maybe he's just visiting. We really don't know. But I think he's going to be on a ship, and they have announced like 3 of his castmates that are going to be on the show. And they all appear to be a lot younger than him. So I'm thinking he's...
Okay, but yeah,
I don't know.
most people are.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah, but
True
they
enough.
won't look younger than him. It's Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he
Right.
still looks the same age that he did since he was
doesn't look
born.
young to me. He just looks like he'll never die. Like
There's younger people
he has
than
this
him.
going strong.
Like
look.
immortal, but 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
He'll drain some of their life force to keep them.
I don't
Which, by the way, he was in that
Blood
movie Life
facial.
Force.
I assume that he would only come back for like an in-depth character study kind of series. He had a lot of latent like guilt and weird buried feelings like present throughout Next Generation, kind of half military, half Renaissance man feel to him. I don't know. I think that's why you get him back, is because he can kind of deal with the aftermath and repercussions of some of the stuff he did.
Well, yeah, especially with Locutus being transformed into a Borg.
Yeah.
You're talking about a serious psychological impact and ramifications he had to deal with on that.
Plus, he has he had moments. Obviously, though, there's one that stands out where he was happy and saw a picture of himself in a different life
Yeah.
for what
One of the
felt
best
like
episodes.
a different life in real time for a long time. So just
From the
there's a lot
episode-
of ramifications. It's not like
in
he's
real
a
life.
war criminal
yeah.
or anything. Just a lot of repercussions of the paths not taken that are really interesting about him.
Yeah.
You gonna say?
I mean, everybody knows Cisco's the best captain. So, don't at me. Cisco's the best.
I don't know where you're coming from.
Is Jonathan Frakes directing any of it?
He is supposed to direct
Yeah.
at least
Oh, he's
1 or
good.
2 episodes of the
He's
show.
good. He's very much still in the universe.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, he did a couple of Discovery
He's
this
done
season,
some-
didn't he?
Yes, he did. And to your comment, Kirk. But anyway,
Yeah.
No.
Excuse you, Giorgio.
No.
well, she was great too.
She was
Okay,
great,
so it's coming out next year. It's already begun filming. Star Trek Picard started filming in April, and we'll probably see more of this footage or something. Know more about the plot points in July at San Diego Comic-Con, and then I just want to add that what's interesting to me about this show is that we're going to see a younger Picard than we would see at Journey's End. He would have actually been older in the very last episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation TV series. You know, so we're going to see a younger Picard than we saw because he was really old.
Fury that crap.
Timelines.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. 10
it-
episodes
Yeah, is it
Coming
announced for
to-
this fall?
coming I'm sorry, I said 2019. I think I said I don't. But I don't think it's coming till next
2020.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
To be fair, yeah. So it's gonna. Well, I'm sorry. I am reading it here. It says it's gonna premiere on CBS All Access late in 2019. So
Nice.
I was thinking that's too early, but I
Merry
guess
Christmas to you.
Oh,
Yes.
I did forget just one quick thing. We don't have a date for Batwoman either. It just says fall 2019.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a false.
And we
I
all
thought
cared
as much.
just as much about that
totally.
as we do about the Picard
This
thing
amazing
that we
epic
were
character
raised
that's been
on
in television for 20 years
versus
and
Batwoman
this
with
Yeah.
chick.
C-list villains.
And this reporter has just one sad comment to make. I'm sad that Amazon Prime has canceled The Tick after season 2.
Season 2 was so good.
Very disappointed. So please, Netflix, Hulu, if you're listening, please pick The Tick up.
Like Amazon ain't got that kind of money.
Okay,
Come on, Disney. We need you to pick up The Tick. Peter Serafinowicz needs.
he's so good.
He is. We need more of that.
I forgot to tell you. I was gonna tell you. I binged that in one night. Like when I was like, "Oh yeah, season 2's out," and then I was just like, "Next." It was so good. I liked it better than the first season. It just
So I'm
went
sad.
bananas.
Well, we got to get to our last story because this one, it hits me kind of close to home. Cora, what have you got for us? Actually, I know.
So, a lot of us here on the show, and probably a lot of people watching the show, are content creators that rely on things like Adobe Premiere to work on their videos, use Adobe Photoshop for their thumbnails, or use other Adobe products for their show.
Hope
Oh,
you're
I
getting
did.
paid.
Well, hopefully you have the new version of the Adobe Suite because Adobe has now made it official that if you are using any of their outdated products, you can be sued for using these outdated products.
Even if you bought a full license.
Even if you bought a full license, if you are not using the most current version of anything in the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, which includes Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and other programs like that, you have the potential to be sued by a third-party company. They have made that very clear. They were asked by someone they asked Adobe to clarify what they meant by that, and they literally just said the same thing that was on the letter, which was
You're no longer licensed.
Adobe recently discontinued certain older versions of Creative Cloud applications. Customers using those versions have been notified that they are no longer licensed to use them and were provided guidance on how to upgrade to the latest authorized versions. Unfortunately, customers who continue to use or deploy older unauthorized versions of Creative Cloud may face potential claims of infringement by third parties. The agreement has also been looked over by various copyright experts, and there's nothing we can do as consumers. It is completely airtight. And multiple people have brought up, other than the fact that Adobe Photoshop is really expensive and their current versions are subscription-based, so it's not practical. But they've also pointed out that their computers just won't run the new versions. They get crashes all the time while they're working on their products. In addition to that, it also brings up the dialogue that we're starting to become more and more in a world where you don't own the things that you buy. Let's say you buy 3 albums on iTunes and your iTunes crashes and deletes it, you have to buy those albums again. So you don't own those albums anymore. They're gone. If a computer completely wipes itself for no reason, you don't own any of the software that you had already previously bought unless there's like a backup for it online. And with this one, if you have older versions of Adobe, you just can't use it. Sorry, can't use it. It's old. You gotta go to the new one. So if you have any of the older versions, be sure to check your emails to make sure you have not gotten this letter, because maybe if you haven't gotten the letter, you might be a little safer. But I personally think this is bullshit. Like, I'm so mad. I personally don't use Photoshop because I find it very confusing. But I'm mad I have way too many friends, and we also on this show use it for all of our video editing for when we go to cons and stuff. Like, Adobe, what are you doing? You are literally pushing people away from using your product by doing this.
Yeah, this one was a hard pill for me to swallow when I saw she was coming, because we do pay for a license of all Adobe products. We use After Effects, Adobe Premiere, Photoshop,
Lightroom, Bridge.
Are y'all actually using those? Because I guess those are.
I use them.
But we pay for a license, and we are made to upgrade every year, because we have a subscription, not a license. There is no license I can buy, which is something I trained on Adobe stuff, and I know how to use it. So this is really just, I feel like a hypocrite. I kind of want to switch to something. But
one thing that I have not been able to get clarified is it says previous versions of Creative Cloud applications, right? So there's Adobe Creative Cloud has been around since 2015-ish, right? Before that, there was like CS4, CS5, CS3. They no longer support those, but I haven't been entirely clear on whether you're supposed to discontinue use of CS3, 4, and 5 because they are different than Creative Cloud applications, and there's some confusion there.
That is something that I haven't seen in the articles.
I
that I've been
haven't
reading,
either, and
so I'm not sure. But just as a quick thing, like it includes things like Lightroom, Classic, Photoshop, Premiere, Animate, and Media Director. Let me see if this article has more information.
I kind of agree with our buddy Aaron from Wonder Twin Powers Activate show. Go check that show out. I see a lawsuit there.
there's
Absolutely.
not a lawsuit. There's no legal recourse
But they
for this
bought
one.
this program before they instituted their
Right, but if the
subscription-based.
people, like, that's what we're saying, we're not entirely sure about. People that bought it, that's different than a Creative Cloud application.
Yeah.
So they may or may not.
Yeah.
Like, license keys are different. I have a license key for all of CS5.
Oh, we got a cheer. Thank you. Hogo Show.
Oh, hey, he's
Hey!
back. Army guy, the fan of murder.
So
Loves murder.
this new development that they're announcing, this is part of their loyalty rewards program.
That comes
guessing.
hot on the tail of them doubling the price of
Oh,
the
yeah.
subscription model.
As the
This
person that
year
pays for our stuff on the app.
announced this last month in April, doubling that price, and then immediately telling people they can't use stuff they purchase. Only because I can't not, though. If you bought an iTunes album and your computer crashes, you still have that album.
I feel,
Just in the case of iTunes.
I mean, currently.
Yeah. Subject to change at any
Who
moment.
knows?
I feel like the consumers are getting the middle finger, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we're entitled to something better.
We got both middle fingers.
Stop
Why?
using that word.
What?
This isn't a fandom thing, Bryce.
It's so different. It's so different.
Oh,
In this regard, I feel like this is a case where it's like I'm entitled to use the program that I bought with my money is completely valid. And again, if you haven't gotten this letter and you use like CS1 or CS3, CS4, you may be safe for that. I think it's literally only the cloud. But just in case, be on the lookout for a letter from Adobe just Adobe talking about this. Because
And if you get one, let us know, because I'm
Yeah.
super curious. That's,
Yeah.
to me,
Well,
is a very big difference. Creative Cloud
I have
programs were not purchased. They were subscribed to.
I have the letter here, and I'm not seeing anything that specifies CS1 to any of that. It's literally, we have recently discontinued certain older versions of Creative Cloud applications, and as a result, under the terms of our agreement, we are no longer licensed to use. You are no longer licensed to use them. Our records show that you may be using the following versions of these applications, and then it will list the
Okay.
ones.
Yeah.
Please be aware that should you continue to use discontinued versions, you may be at risk of potential claims and infringement by third parties. Please upgrade to the latest versions using instructions below. By upgrading, you will continue to receive all of the value that Creative Cloud has to offer.
Upgrade or else.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Basically.
Well, That's anyway.
Okay.
That's the news. That last bit was okay.
Dinner.
Let's just put the spice on it for the next part of this conversation. So this
I don't
week,
know why we would be spicy about this.
Quick shout out to Army Guy, though. We weren't actually accusing you of being a fan of murder. And to clarify for everyone in chat, that's not what we're doing. We're just saying thanks for dropping in again.
Yes, D&D. It was D&D
It was
murder,
D&D.
by the way. It
Go
was
watch
D&D
last
murder.
week.
This is like a Sims thing, kind of. You can't get it mixed up with the real world.
so for the past 2 weeks, there's
It's been longer than 2
out there.
weeks.
Okay, no, it's the last season.
Ever since Game of Thrones season, whatever this is, started.
So, fun fact, I have never watched, I actually, I can't say never. I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, and it interrupted with the book I was reading, so I stopped, and I figure at some point I'll go back to this. Kind of like Bryce, I'll go binge it after it's over. But,
It interfered with your page-by-page coloring book
look,
following
I
along with the
have,
show?
I have discussion about the R1
Sorry
books.
for that. No, I was burping, and so it just got caught in my nose.
Regardless, as a person that does not follow the show, boy, I know that there's some unhappy people out there about Game of Thrones. And it brings up a larger conversation. Oh, shut up. Anyway, are we that entitled as fans to really rail in this matter against how a creator wants to present his content? Now, I want to bring up some of the more popular, well, not popular at all.
Are we going to stay off spoilers? I feel like since
We can stay off spoilers, but
I think we can.
I think we
since
can
it's
stay
I mean,
off
late.
spoilers.
we're not
Yeah.
focusing so much on spoilers, but other fandoms that have just raised at choices that creators have made with their property. And let me begin because Star Wars, okay? Look, I love Star Wars. And with that, I say I love the prequels. You know why? Because it's still Star Wars.
Because they're hilarious.
They are really funny.
These are movies that, wherever my amount of enjoyment was off of them, this is a choice made by a person who created the fucking series.
Welcome to Twitch, everyone.
So,
Where we swear if we want to.
so there is a point where
can
I
swear
can
if you
go,
want to.
I went,
leave
I
your
don't
friends
like
behind.
I don't like this Jar Jar Binks business. I can say that. But there are sometimes as fans we go way, way too far.
Who's the TV show that's the most famous for doing it? Anyone?
Hello, Supernatural.
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 For
And
thinking
it's
they were entitled.
trash fandom. Not necessarily trash fans, but the fandom as a whole.
Toxic.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like, Britney Spears ain't got nothing on it.
Seriously.
I'm not sure where this line is as fans, but there are some people that they're way across the line.
Can we agree that somewhere way across the line is a petition? Because we had The Last Jedi had a petition, and season 8 of Game of Thrones have both had petitions to rewrite and reshoot them.
Okay.
Rewrite.
At that point,
there was
at
the
that point,
tie-in from the day before.
I'm going to be straight. If you are writing a petition because a content creator has chosen to do something, take your petition, roll it up, and shove it up your ass. I'm sorry. No, there is no way. If I've come up with something, I thought of this one day. I said, you know what? I want to make this thing. And I make that thing, and people go, I don't like it. Okay, well, fine, you don't like it. And I think you should rewrite it. I think you should go fuck yourself.
There's a neat little trick that Kat taught me about if you don't like, especially like a TV show or a movie series. You know what the trick is?
What
What's
is
the
that
trick, Kat?
You stop watching it.
And stop buying the memorabilia associated with it.
Yeah,
Probably.
you
It's so
imagine.
simple.
Yeah.
You imagine whatever you want happened. If you want to write, I'm not against like fanfics or
What is-
whatever. Write fanfics
How I Met Your Mother.
of
Oh,
how
yeah.
you
How I Met
wanted.
Your Mother.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
How I Met Your
How I Met
Mother
Your
did
Mother.
piss me off.
Coptel brought up in the chat that How I Met Your Mother actually had their petition work when the fans were unhappy with the ending.
I really liked the alt ending. I did.
I did too.
But yeah, How I Met Your Mother is an example of a show that I was.
So they ended the
Pissed.
show, but then they refilmed the finale.
I think they
They
recut
didn't.
it.
They had to have him do a voiceover that
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
exist.
Wow.
But others was just like a montage of through the seasons.
I do have trouble with, especially How I Met Your Mother and The Last Jedi, and honestly this season of Game of Thrones, is because I agree these entitled fans, right? I agree with what they're saying about the content, because I did not like The Last Jedi.
You as a fan, you are allowed
and
that.
I will publicly complain about it as much as I want. However,
Not as much as you want.
Not as-
because we have
but,
time
like-
constraints.
but I will publicly complain about them. However, that does not mean they have to do anything for me. Who am I?
Cass.
Oh, okay.
I'll look up your last name and tell you later.
That
Oh,
is the
thank you.
point that I certainly disagree. When you tell, well, you need to go back and do it again. Make me, motherfucker.
So this made me think, though, like, what are we actually entitled to? There's a nonverbal agreement between content creators and fandoms. What is it? What does it actually get us? Like, I have my answer, but I'm interested to hear. Is it anything? Is it nothing? What is it?
I'm actually going to go with Hogo Show's answer with it's up to the creator what they get. He mentioned that, they can make their petition all they want, but it's up to the artist to decide whether or not they do anything.
My man.
100% agree. But if you are asking for viewers on an ongoing basis, then what have you kind of agreed to a little bit? I have one, I think it sets the bar low. But what is it? Is it anything? Is it nothing?
I think they gauge a lot of stuff with test audiences as well.
I think that's a mistake. But
I think if we're gonna start at the bottom step, I think that you should give the fans what you said you were going to. If you announce a season 4 and there's not something stopping you, do season 4. Stuff like that.
if you owe it to them to come through on commitments that you've put out.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair.
I think it compromises their vision. See, I was reading a story that made a point of two particularly different types of writers. There's architects and there's gardeners. There are people that they have their story, they build the foundation, they build that story, and they have the plans, and they follow those plans to the letter. What's going to happen at the beginning is what's going to happen at the end.
That's How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
They ended it the way they chose to in season 1 when they shot the kids' parts.
But then again, there are gardeners who, as they write these characters and have books and see how people react to them, they let the vines grow how they
Overwatch.
a natural
Breaking
progression.
Bad.
If there's something they need to prune, they prune it. If there's something they need to grow, they let it grow. So there are two different types of styles. Like R.R. Martin is definitely more of a gardener with his stories. The writers of Game of Thrones, though, they are or George Lucas even for that matter. It's a set in stone thing. This is what I wanted, and I'm going to see it through all the way to the end. No deviations to the left or
But the
right.
creators didn't have access to where the story was going.
Exactly. They don't.
No, they
Except
didn't
for-
have the access to it. They didn't know.
I understand. what
Except
Game
for
of-
some very particular.
Yeah.
So there are licenses that they were able to take. I mean, not liberties that they were able to take with that show.
Creative
I'm not
license.
denying that at all. But for us to sit there and say, I think you should redo what you did, no.
So going back to Kat's question,
What-
what do content creators owe their audiences? Besides, if you agree that they owe
I don't.
any commitment that they said.
As far as like a character development or something like that, you don't owe them shit. I'm sorry, you don't. If you like this, you read it, you view it, you listen to it, whatever. If you don't, or you know what? And life is full of disappointment. I'm sorry, you can't always get what you want.
Okay, Boomer Jason has come out. What do
Yeah.
you think, Bryce? Because here's the background for this. We're all content creators, and although we're very different, I had the feeling we'd come down on a similar side of this issue. So in order to not just preach at people, I wanted to try and see if I could come up with something that, like, my content owes its fandom or something, so that it wasn't just yelling at people who are entitled.
I think that it is, I had it, and now it's gone. Give me, like, a
It's a
second.
tough question.
I think it is more about asking versus demanding. Like, if we're talking about us as content creators, we obviously do want to show our audience, give our audience what they want, but there's a difference between, hey, it'd be really cool if you guys, tried this, versus you guys really need to just do this. There's a big difference in the way that what people want are presented. And I think that makes a big difference in how the artist will interpret that and go with that. Kind of managing, or I don't know, I lost it.
As far as you're saying, what to expect, I hate when you hear artists or creators say they phoned something in and they purposefully did it.
No.
No, I believe that if you're going to do anything, I believe, especially if you're doing it for a group of people, you should be giving your all. And you should be giving an honest presentation of it. Not, I did that just to close off that storyline.
Gotcha.
I did that, I had to come up with something here, so I just kind of came up with something. It doesn't feel heartfelt. It doesn't feel like they put anything in it. It's just like something they did because, not necessarily because it needed to be done, it was just convenient for them to do it.
So you think content creators owe fans their best effort?
Please.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
If they've always given it. I think my answer was that I think we owe our vast fandom, for instance here, a certain kind of consistency, but I don't think we have any obligation whatsoever to prove that we've provided it. Like, foreshadowing is kind of a thing, and character journeys are sort of a thing, but I don't think I have to justify either of them to you. If I've written high-quality work in the past, then I owe it to the fandom, I guess, to think about the consistency of that arc and whether it makes any sense, but I don't have to explain myself in retrospect, and that was the only one I could come up with.
I like that. I would just say that for a series of films like Lucas has done over the years, when you try to follow up something that's iconic, that's really hard to do.
Yep.
And people, you got both sides of the fence. People love it, people hate it, for the prequels. So, if you compare that to like ongoing TV shows like Supernatural or The X-Files or some Star Trek series or something, you start off with a bang in many cases, and then I like to give creators, a lot of slack because, when you're doing 22 to 28 episodes a year, I don't think it's fair for me as a fan to say, I need consistent, high quality from you every week in, every week out. After 3 or 4 years, these creators, there's a lot of work that goes into making all those scripts and all those shows. So, as a fan, yes, I want high quality, but you can't demand it, and I think that's where the conversation needs to come in. And with social media, it's so evil. It's so easy for people to shout and make racist remarks, make misogynistic remarks, terrible things about cast members and about creative people behind the scenes. In the end, it's just entertainment. Can we just back off a little bit? I'm with you guys. The creators need to be able to make their vision a reality for us to enjoy. And if you don't like it, tune out.
Your
Like you
fandom
said.
doesn't own these characters.
We don't own them, no. But as much as I love Scully and Mulder, I wanted things to happen, and I will admit to you, I have cursed at the television screen thinking one of my heroes has died, and now I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Well, that could happen at any episode, right? But I'm just saying that, from a fan standpoint, I understand the enthusiasm and the passion, and you want things to go your way. But in the end, no, the creators don't owe us anything except gratitude. If they should meet us face to face for us being fans, I think, because that's the nicest human thing you can do.
When they've signed up to meet fans.
Right. When? Yes. I
At
mean, I'm not going to
appropriate.
walk. Yeah, I'm
No,
not going
I
to walk
know.
up to them at a restaurant while they're eating with their family.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Were we not supposed to do that?
Well, yes, Jason, you
I
can.
mean, you can sometimes, but they don't owe you gratitude right then.
I'm with you, Hogo Show. How
Yeah.
dare they kill Old Yeller?
I mean,
Hashtag
They
never
have
forget.
rabies.
have we-
She did have
I
rabies.
did want to say before we go, have any of us had any bad, like, blow-ups, maybe that went too far? I know I personally was pissed off at the Cowboy Bebop show.
Ha,
That at the
with the
end,
husky.
how would they dare? They kept insinuating that Spike had died at the end of that
Implying.
series. And how dare they do that? Because Spike did not die, okay? He was hurt bad. He didn't die. And how dare they perpetuate that lie?
Spoilers.
I mean, I've never finished Cowboy Bebop.
You had time though.
I did have time, and like
Yeah, no, you're right.
like I said, I am a little bit furious at Game of Thrones with some of the characters and
I'm
what
not.
they
I'm
did
so
with them.
happy.
Now she's convinced me of this one ending that I don't think it's gonna happen.
There's a character who is iffy who may or may not have done something that's pretty reprehensible. I think it's been coming for a long time, and since they're so close to the end of Game of Thrones, I'm all for this character going big bad. Like, I think it's fun.
But
It
there
took
was a
me a
lot of
minute,
stuff.
but,
There's
like,
a lot of
sure.
stuff in season 8 that I think was trash.
But consistency. There was a lot of stuff in
And that's to be
seasons,
fair. Like,
3
Game of
through
Thrones
7.
has not been great in a while. Like,
It's
You're trying to
been
hurt me,
pretty.
so that's fine.
It's been pretty when you can see it.
which is
And not great.
occasionally.
Don't
That
crush
being
your
said,
blacks,
don't
content
crush your
creators.
blacks.
Some of us are consuming at low bandwidth sometimes. We need to be able to see your stuff.
That being said, there have been many, many, many shows that I have started and absolutely loved, and then they started being bad, and I stopped watching and stopped paying attention. And then they ran on for another 6 seasons because I don't have any effect on
a
that.
number of CW shows.
Okay, I know it's late, but real quick, what do fandoms owe their creators?
Who?
What do fandoms owe their creators? What's the implied other side?
Oh,
Respect.
well,
That's a good one. That's a big one.
Regardless of if you agree with what they do or not with their characters, you owe them respect. 100%. I've read books where I did not like the outcome of those books, but I respect the author for writing them. And I mean, I still read their content because it's still something I enjoy. I just may not have enjoyed what happened. May also have not liked certain movies that have come from books. But I respect those that created the movie because, well, to an extent. Universal, we have to
Looking
talk
at you.
later.
I think one that we've gotten away from is honest criticism. Let's take, for example, Captain Marvel, when people were basically going out and saying, I've seen the whole movie, it sucks. Well, the movie's not released yet. Yeah, but I saw it. I saw it. And blatant lies. That's not honest criticism. And that's a lot of what a number of people, it got so bad the Rotten Tomatoes had to turn off the reviews before the movie went live. So honest criticism
Hogo
when you've seen it.
Hogo Show made a good point. What we might owe content creators is seeing how things play out before making a judgment.
Exactly.
And I definitely try to do that. I do occasionally jump to judgment a lot, but I do try and make sure that I'm giving whatever they're doing a chance to kind of play out, if I can.
I think respect for the way in which they wanted it to be viewed is something that I don't do a lot, and I should. Like, for instance, if your show is a binge show and it's created in that format, then binging it is great. If it's a weekly one, you might need the time in between the episodes to process, and I'm not good at that. I usually wait a few weeks and then binge them out.
Yeah.
But also just...
But there's also people that say that you can't watch my movie on a regular TV screen,
I think...
or that you shouldn't.
So don't watch it.
Don't watch it at all. That's what you think?
I think that
That's
they
fair.
have the right even to mandate certain ways of viewing it, but I have the right to never watch it because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us
Looking
are
at
guilty.
you, David Lynch.
I think a lot of us are guilty
You're
of
the
instant
worst.
judgment. Take Robert Pattinson probably being Batman.
Or Ben Affleck being cast as Batman.
We were alive when Ben Affleck was announced to play Batman, and all of us groaned.
And you know what? My favorite live action
Jake, show me
Batman
a sword.
straight up.
Yes!
We owe each other sodas.
No, because we...
No, but I could also be a louder, positive voice. I think I owe that sometimes.
That's fair.
I think we need to stop feeling guilty pleasure shows. Like, if you watch it, be proud about it. I don't care. I liked Teen Wolf until towards the
Yeah!
end.
Teen
It
Wolf was great.
It was cinematic. It was interesting. I liked their monsters. Like, get over your, oh, I'm embarrassed. If you watch something, just be one of the fans, even if you're not part of the fandom.
We've been here for 8 seasons.
Hogo,
this
we've been
show
here.
has been here for 1 season.
2.
No,
We're on our
good,
second.
yeah.
We're working on the second one.
Also, Cocktail pointed out.
Also, Tyler Hoechlin.
Yes.
So hot.
So hot.
He looks like a wolf person in the hottest way you can imagine.
If you didn't watch Teen Wolf, he's Superman from Supergirl.
I've stood next
He
to
was
him
also in 50 Shades of Grey.
in Portland, Oregon.
Ugh.
How big was
Really?
his? Never mind.
You can't ask that.
How big was his cape?
Yeah.
You know, I think...
About-
I was gonna
smile.
ask for his curl, his little cowlick.
All right,
Sure.
So, all right, the producer's telling us it is time
How
to start
pervy was it?
Thank
wrapping
you,
up
Hogo
this
Show. Hogo Show gave
Was
us
it
100
kinda
bits.
straight?
Thank you so much.
Also,
Thank you so much.
Hogo, seriously, people in the chat make this show better. They shape the
Yes,
conversation.
thank you.
So that's why we say Super Cool Nerd Nation. Super Cool Nerd Nation
Super
is
Cool
because
Nerd
it's
Nation.
all of us. So
I just
thank
want to
you
go
for-
on record as saying I've never jumped the gun. I've never made a bad snap judgment.
Oh, also, if you don't
Sure.
like the way Maka is, you can suck it.
And I just want to point out that you want to talk about, before we go, there has been a lot of positive fan support for certain projects.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if we really touched on that. You know, you want to talk about, fan fiction and Star Trek fan film productions, to keep franchises alive.
Relevant. They've kept
Relevant.
Star
I
Trek
think the
relevant
majority
during
is
like
always a
almost
bit more
60
positive.
years.
The
Yeah.
majority is always positive.
So you
Yeah.
owe people your positivity in the face of negativity if you want this content to continue.
Exactly.
But mostly we're thankful for all 7 of our fans.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank
and
you.
all 12 of us who join in the chat together. Some people might not be a fan, but you're here.
Tell a friend. Anyway, that is our show this week. We will be back next week. We got some big stuff coming up here soon. We got Akon coming up, and we got a special interview for that coming up.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's
it's
right.
going to be great.
If you have any questions regarding ACON 2019, please send them
And it's
to us.
new management.
Yes, it is new management, which has been kind of the issue with them recently, which they've been so transparent with everything going on behind the scenes that I'm willing to give them a huge chance on this. But if you guys have any questions or concerns that you've had in previous years at ACON, please send them to us on Facebook or Instagram at SCNS Live.
You got 9 days.
Yeah, 9 days. Well, less than that because we want to be able to give them
Oh, yeah.
to the, I'm going to say until about Wednesday of next week because we want to make sure that we get these questions to ACON so they can look them over and actually have logical answers to those questions instead of being asked something pretty heavy on the spot and them just sitting there going,
I don't know.
what is our plan? Crap, what is our plan? When they have one and they didn't have a chance to, talk about it.
And we'll be putting the call out on some of our social media channels, so you want to follow us over there, facebook.com/SCNS Live, and on Twitter and Instagram at SCNS Live. If you want to follow us individually, you can follow me at Jason the X on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram at BetterCat, or if you're an Overwatch League fan, you can find Cass and I drawing horrible cartoons of things that shoutcasters say on at Doa Drawings, DOA Drawings on Twitter.
You can find me Instagram and Twitter at Cass_Bradley. That is KAS_Bradley. Just as a thing, in the chat, I am Moon Pies.
Oh yeah, live free pie hard. That's my chat name.
I love that. I love that. You can find me running at the park sometimes, and you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Bryce Culver, and I also have a toy Instagram page called Trapdoor Toys, which I promise I'll be posting to tomorrow.
If you find him running at the park, follow him. He needs new followers.
This weekend, Bryce and I will also be recording an episode of Alternate Heads, our toy podcast show.
Where they swap heads with each other.
Yep.
Not just
a lot of
organs.
green screening.
Just
but in the
organs.
future, maybe 4K projectors. What about you, Cora?
You can follow me on Instagram at Cora O'Donnell. The spelling is down there, where I post artwork and cosplay related things. I'll be posting more things that I've been making for the D&D game that we have every other Saturday here live on Twitch. If you want to follow me for things like Moomins and Suikoden because you want positive fandoms, you can find me at Hawks Perch on Twitter.
All right, that's it, guys. We'll see you next week. And as we always say around here,
Keep on nerding. Murder hobos.
Murder, murder.
I was too busy writing Murder Hobos for Life, spelled wrong in the chat.
LYFE.
Don't make Robert Pattinson.